Hey plant fam! Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jaclynn. This is my jungle, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you for being here. So today, I thought that it would be fun to talk about some of my plant predictions for 2025. I'm a little late, I know, but I haven't really been filming much. So I thought it... Oh, my chair just made a fart noise. So I thought it would be fun to just chat about some of these things together that I've been noticing, some changes that have been happening in the community, and how I think that they are going to continue to change throughout the rest of the year. So let's sit down, relax, hang out, grab yourself a beverage. I just opened up one of my little seltzers here. I've got a list of, I don't know, like 10 things or so, and we're gonna chat about them. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've certainly noticed that there has definitely been a major comeback for Hoya. So as you guys know, if you're not new here, if you are new here, hi, thank you for hanging out. I am a hoe for Hoya. I've been a hoe for Hoya for like 5 years now. I've been very avidly growing and collecting Hoya. They were always my favorite genus, 100% before Anthurium came into my life. Now they share that love for sure. Like if you told me that I could only have one or the other, like I wouldn't be able to pick. They are definitely my top two favorite, just like genre period. So like if I could only have two different types of plants in my home and I couldn't have anything else, it would obviously be Anthurium. I mean, look behind me, and my Hoya for sure. So I really genuinely have noticed a resurgence in people's excitement about Hoya, and I've seen a lot of people wanting to get into collecting Hoya, and they've definitely become more trendy to some people's dismay. Some people are really Hoya haters out there, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I've definitely noticed that they are kind of having their time in the spotlight right now, and I'm definitely not mad about that. So let me know in the comments below, obviously, if you agree or disagree with my predictions. If you have any that you want to add to the list after you finished watching this video, obviously I want to hear what you guys have to say. I love having those conversations with you guys in the comments below. This conversation doesn't have to end when the video ends. I really enjoy talking with you guys in the comments about these things. So let me know if you agree. Have you gotten into Hoya recently? Have you wanted to get into Hoya recently? I've definitely noticed that trend quite a bit, especially over on Palm Street, where people are definitely asking more for Hoya. People are getting into more rare Hoya, and I'm pretty excited about it because it's bringing more of it to the market. It's making a lot of it more readily available if more sellers are selling different varieties and have more selection. For the longest time years ago, it was just really hard for me to even find Hoya. I feel like even in the stores, I go to the stores and I'm seeing a lot more variety than I used to. Even in the big box stores, honestly, like all the new proven winners Hoya that came out recently in late 2024. So I definitely see that trend continuing to head in that direction, where I think Hoya are just going to continue to be more popular and hopefully continue to become more of a mainstream plant, because it's definitely not one that is super common anymore. It used to be back in like the 50s and 60s. It used to be a really, really common house plant, especially just the regular carnosas, but for some reason they kind of fell out of style, and I'm very excited to see them making a comeback in 2025. So of course you didn't think we were gonna have a video about plants and not talk about Anthurium, right? I just got through saying that they are one of my favorites, of course. So I'm not the only one, you guys. Like, let's be so for real. Hamthurium. I just literally said Hamthurium. Anthurium have been becoming more popular for quite some time. Like I feel like they've always been a trendy thing. They've just kind of always, for some of us, myself included, I feel like they felt a little bit out of reach. They felt a little bit more like this elite thing, like this club that I just wasn't like a part of and like wasn't cool enough to be a part of. But in reality, like that, none of that is true at all. These plants are really easy to grow. They're very rewarding to grow. And I think that a lot of people are starting to realize that and we're less afraid of getting into Anthurium. And it's kind of like a rabbit hole. Once you start getting into Anthurium hybrids, you kind of just become obsessed with them because they are so unique and every one is different. So it really sets Anthurium apart from other genre because there is so much uniqueness even just within the same seed batch. So there's a lot more genetics to play with. There's a lot more interesting things to discover with Anthurium, and I think that the trend for 2025 is absolutely headed towards variegated Anthurium, whether you like them or not. The hardcore collectors are definitely leaning towards the variegated Anthurium. They're huge out in Indonesia and other parts of Asia, and it's only a matter of time before that stuff comes over here. So I definitely think we're going to see a uptick in the number of people who are selling variegated Anthurium, looking for variegated Anthurium, and breeding with variegated Anthurium here in the States in 2025. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about variegated Anthurium. I know a lot of people don't like them. For me, it depends on the type of variegation. For me, for sure, it's the same that I feel for any variegated plant, like variegated philodendron as well. When the variegation makes it look deformed or makes the plant look kind of sickly is when I'm not really into it. But there are certain types of variegation that I think are absolutely beautiful. There are some people who think that these plants are more stunning without variegation because the texture of their leaves and the simplicity of them is what makes them so beautiful. So I think it really comes down to personal preference, but whether you like it or not, the market is trending towards the more variegated Anthurium. So don't be surprised if you see a lot more of those for sale and a lot more of them being sought out by avid Anthurium collectors. So the third thing that I wanted to talk about today that I have noticed in the plant community and has made me pretty excited, and I think that more people are going to start getting into it in 2025 and moving forward, is terrarium plants, and not just any terrarium plants, but like specifically making bioactive terrariums. So what that means is that not only are you putting plants in a glass jar and leaving them there to grow, but you're also adding in things like springtails and isopods that are going to keep that enclosure clean. So then you don't have to worry about it. You can actually just keep it sealed for extended periods of time and it's not going to get moldy and things like that. The isopods will eat any decaying matter and the springtails take care of mold and bacteria and stuff like that. So they're kind of like your cleanup crew. So they're kind of like creating a terrarium that has its own little ecosystem in it. And I've definitely noticed a lot more interest in things like this online for sure. And me specifically, I'm obviously really interested in it. So I get a lot of questions about it because of my reptiles. I do have snakes and geckos, in case you guys didn't know. I like to make my geckos enclosures bioactive so that I can put live plants in there for them and I don't have to worry about having to replace the substrate all of the time because the isopods are in there taking care of the large pieces of fecal matter. Oh, such a gross word to say. The large pieces of poo, and then the springtails take care of these smaller things like the mold and other stuff that can build up over time. So it's really fun to create these things, whether you're putting animals in them or not. And I think that people are just becoming a little bit more interested in projects. And I think that a terrarium, especially something bioactive, is just like a fun project. It's something to do with your plants that is more rewarding than just sitting and staring at them. You know, like obviously I love repotting my plants. I love watering my plants. I love caring for my plants, but there's something really special about creating a little world. And you could put cute stuff in there too. You could do like a little mushroom house. You could do like a little fairy world in there. You could do whatever you want. The shirt is actually from Rat Trap Artistry over on Palm Street. You guys, it says Be Weird, the mushroom. Super cute. You should go and check her out. I will leave it linked down below for you. But I really do genuinely think that I'm not the only one. I think that there's a lot of people, I've seen a lot of content where people are interested in how to go about making a terrarium that is bioactive. So let me know in the comments below if this is something that you're interested in, if you have noticed that terrarium plants have been a little bit more popular lately for sure, and or maybe if it's just me. My feed is just giving me more of it because I'm into it. So that's why I like to discuss these things with you guys, or else I'm just in my own little like echo chamber in my head, you know? So let me know in the comments below what you think about bioactive terrariums. Would you make one? Do you think it's something that would be fun and interesting to do? And would you put an animal in there? Because you could do like frogs, geckos, obviously I love, or you can just leave them and enjoy them and look at them and create your own little world in there. So the next one kind of goes along with the same theme, where I feel like people are wanting to get away from the trendy plants. I feel like there aren't as many trendy plants like there used to be. Like the hype around certain plants just isn't what it used to be. I feel like the Monstera Albo just like ruined it. Like after that, everybody was just kind of like over it. And like the Tycon thing, everybody was going crazy looking for the Tycons. Now everybody's going crazy looking for the Anthurium in the big box store, like for sure. But I think we're entering more into a time where people are not wanting to follow the trends and they're wanting to do their own thing and figure it out for themselves. And I think that's awesome. I think that you should be able to just go to the store and buy whatever you want to buy, whether it's rare or trendy or cool or not, and be excited about it. It really shouldn't matter. If you want to go and get a succulent at your garden center and take it home and be thrilled about it, like you do you, boo-boo. Like nobody should make you feel bad for that because your plant isn't like cool or trendy. So I think that we're starting to go back to, and we need to continue to normalize just being excited about plants in general, regardless of what plant it is. And I do think that carnivorous plants are experiencing a little bit of an uptick in their interest for that reason, because they are really interesting and unique, and their care needs are very different than a lot of the rest of our plants. So it is a new challenge. And if you've been doing plants for a long time, then you know I don't have to tell you. Every once in a while, it's just fun to take on a new challenge. Every once in a while, I like to take on a new genus. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to keep begonia happy. I've killed a bunch of them. But it's fun to explore new things throughout our plant journey. I know that that's not just me. So I do think that a lot of people got into plants in 2020, 2021, and you've been doing it for a few years now. So you're getting to the point where it's less about those trendy plants, and because it's exhausting, honestly, following those trends. And you've been doing it long enough now to know that those trendy plants don't always end up being plants that you love and want to keep down the line. So you've learned by now not to fall for that stuff. So I feel like a lot of us in the plant community now, we're seasoned. Sure, there's always newbies, but for the most part, I feel like the majority of us are seasoned plant parents, and we're just at the point where we're looking to do something different. And I think that that is why we're going to see a little bit more interest this year in things like carnivorous plants, terrarium plants, bioactive stuff, and just anything unique. And people not being as ashamed of it as they used to be. I've definitely seen, even just with some more of like the plant influencers that I follow on Instagram and TikTok, talking about the common stuff, talking about the weird stuff, and normalizing making those plants cool. You know, I like ripsalis, like I like cacti, I like succulents, I like euphorbia, I like really weird stuff that I don't tend to show on my channel because honestly, nobody watches it. Nobody cares if I talk about cacti and succulents on this channel. I know some of you do, but not enough people do for those videos to perform well, unfortunately, and it just kind of makes them not worth my time to film over other videos that do. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, as content creators, we do have to follow what works and what people are looking at more and what people are engaging with more. And even though some people like that stuff, it's not enough to make it worthwhile, unfortunately. But I do still make those videos every now and again because they're for me too. And they're for the very few people who enjoy them. But unfortunately, I just feel like they don't get the love that they deserve. And I feel like we're definitely headed down that path where people are like, I don't care anymore. I don't care if the plant is cool. I don't care if other people like it or not. I like it, and I'm going to be excited about it, and I'm going to talk about it. So, you know what? Honestly, I think this next one can kind of get like lumped in there as well because I literally just wrote down begonia. I've been seeing a lot of people be more interested in begonia. So I'm just going to put that here, and you guys let me know if you agree or disagree. But like, I've seen a lot of people in live chats and just in like comment sections online that are like, yeah, I'm just getting into begonia. I like them. I've always liked them, though. I've been into them for a few years now, but let me know if you agree or disagree, I guess, with begonia becoming more popular in 2025. And I would love to know what specific plants you guys think are going to blow up in 2025. Like, is there a specific genus that you think people are going to get excited about? Like, I'm going to maintain that I just think that like more unique, weird stuff is going to become more popular, like Dischidia and things like that. But that might also just be wishful thinking on my part. So let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, this next one, I can tell you for sure, 100% from everything that I have seen over the last like 6 months, probably, variegated philodendron are out. Nobody cares about those anymore. And variegated alocasia are in. Everybody wants those right now. So I feel like that's definitely been the trend already for like the later half of 2024, but it's just been so funny to watch from like 2023 into 2024, the obsession that we all had with variegated philodendron. And we paid so much money for some of these, you guys. And that's not to say that some of them aren't still really popular and really beautiful. My variegated silver sword is one of my favorite plants in my collection. But still, I just feel like I don't see people asking for them anymore. The prices have come down significantly because people aren't buying them, and supply and demand. And I've seen a lot more interest in variegated alocasia. So I think that that's really interesting. And then again, the variegated Anthurium. So it's like we're genus hopping. With the variegated train. I don't think variegated monstera are ever gonna be out of fashion, out of being trendy, for lack of words that sound good coming out of my mouth. This is what happens when you don't write a script for your YouTube videos. But I definitely think that we're going to see some changes in what people are collecting and what people are asking for. And then on top of it, you guys, another thing, people are really downsizing right now. People are getting to a point where, again, I think a lot of us are a few years. I'm a little bit more than that. But I think a lot of people are getting to the point where they're a few years into their plant journey, because I think a lot of people got into plants in 2020, 2021 during COVID. My cat is outside the door yelling. If you can hear him, I apologize. People are getting to the point in their collections where they're getting like maybe a little bit overwhelmed, and they're really wanting to just hone in on the plants that they love. And I think we all do get there at some point in our plant collecting journey where we're just like, hold up, am I really in love with all these plants? Do all of these plants really bring me that much joy? Is this really what I want to be doing? So I do think that we're going to see a lot of influencers and a lot of people talking about downsizing their collections. And something that Doc Block actually said to me that really stuck with me that I'm going to share with you guys. He said, be a custodian, not a collector. And I'm going to leave you with that because I think that he's spot on. And that is where a lot of us are going in 2025. Care for the plants that you have. Carefully curate the ones that you really, really love, and don't surround yourself with just a bunch of plants just for the sake of having a bunch of plants. So that really stuck with me, and I actually felt a little bit called out by it too. I'm not gonna lie, because I've been a bit of a plant hoarder. I'm not gonna lie. I have some dopamine deficiency issues in my brain, and that makes me a little bit impulsive, and that makes me a little bit of a shopping addict for sure, and buying new plants makes me happy, but I've had to come to terms with the fact that it's not about that. It's about caring for the plants and only making sure that I'm really growing and curating plants that I love and bring me joy. Of course, I also breed Anthurium. So I have a lot more than what the average person would have, of course. But, you know, since then, I have definitely been purging pretty frequently. So every time I bring new stuff in, I try to make sure that I'm taking some stuff out as well. So I definitely think we're going to continue to see that trend of people just getting to that place in their journey and with their collection where they feel like they just have too much, and it doesn't look good when your plant shelves are cluttered. Honestly, it looks so much better. It's so much more pleasing for me personally to look at when plants aren't cluttered, and my Anthurium kind of force me to declutter because they don't like to be cluttered. If you grow your Anthurium all on top of each other, they actually don't grow as well. So they like their space. So I repeat, don't be surprised when you see all the planty influencers telling you that they're downsizing their collections in 2025. But I just think that it's a general sentiment too. People are trending more towards the minimalism, the under-consumption core stuff. Some people like take it a little bit too far, but we are not a commentary channel. But I might start one. Just saying. Anyway, so what else is on my list? Oh, you might also notice that there's a lot of stores closing, and I think that we're going to continue to see that, unfortunately, in 2025 because the economy sucks. And rent is going up for a lot of people, not just businesses, but residential as well, unfortunately, in 2025. And I think that a lot of stores are closing because they can't keep up. The market is changing. Tissue culture has completely taken over and changed the market. It's very, very hard to keep up with the plant market now. You're fine if you're a garden center and you're also selling like seasonal stuff. I feel like that's really where the money is, unfortunately, in plants. When it comes to collectible houseplants, people just aren't buying as much as they used to right now. Again, the economy sucks. I think that's part of why you're seeing people buy less, downsize, really think twice about where they're spending their money and what they're doing with their stuff, you know, like, do I need all of this? Like, do I really need all of this stuff? I think that that's just like a really common mindset, and that's obviously going to carry over into the plant market as well. Tissue culture has put a lot of people out of business, unfortunately. So it's rough out there for the small guys. You know, you've got your big guys who have been around and they've been doing it for a really long time and they're not going anywhere. You know, like Costa Farms isn't going anywhere. Equigenera is not going anywhere. Stuff like that. But the little guy's really been suffering, those small shops. So if you do have a local plant shop, you guys, please, 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 I'm begging you, make sure that you go out and support them as much as you can, because they are probably struggling right now to keep their doors open. And if you want to make sure that you can keep those plant shops in your community, you gotta give them your money over the Home Depots and the places online. Stop buying your plants online if you can and get them, even just like your supplies. Go to your local plant shop and buy your supply. Buy pottery, buy moss poles, whatever you can to support them. Even if you just go and buy stickers, like literally whatever. You don't spend money on things you don't need, obviously, but if there's something that you need that you can get from your local plant shop instead of from like an Amazon or somewhere else online, please, 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 just keep it in the back of your head that those businesses are really, really struggling. They are not telling you that they're struggling, but they are struggling. So keep that in mind. If you want to make sure that your local plant shops are staying open, you got to support them. So, and if you can't spend the time or the money supporting them, make sure that you're helping them market and promote. Like, I'm always trying to share local businesses with other people, so that even if I don't have the money to spend, maybe they do, you know? So anyway, rant over. But unfortunately, I do think we're going to continue to see a lot of shops close, and even online shops have been closing too. I mean, look at Kaylee Ellen, unfortunately had to close down the rare plant shop, which is crazy to me. I honestly never would have thought or seen that coming, but the market is so difficult to keep up with now that it's rough, especially when you're buying in a bunch of plants at a specific price. And sure, you make a little bit of money back on them initially, but within 6 months to a year, they lose their value so significantly that it's just not even plausible anymore for smaller businesses to have like mother plants to prop from and things like that. Like, I actually had to learn that stuff the hard way over the last like 5 or 6 years that I've been growing and selling plants. But when I first started like hardcore in 2019, getting into more foliage plants, I invested in small plants that I thought, oh, like in a year they'll be big and then I can propagate them. But then I learned that literally would lose their value. And then even if you bought a large plant and propagated it and tried to sell some cuttings, like, you might make some money, but then like since 6 months down the road, that plant has gone down in price because of tissue culture or whatever else. They're being mass produced by Costa Farms. You know what I mean? So you have a really hard time now keeping up with what is trendy and where the money is, because you're not making money selling pothos. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but nobody's making a livable wage selling pothos and snake plants. You know what I mean? You got to be able to sell the more rare, expensive stuff to make money, unless you're a huge operation. Then you can sell the pothos because you can sell volume. But in order to make money selling plants that are less expensive, you have to be able to sell the volume. And unfortunately, that's just not possible for the small guys. So the small guys are just getting totally screwed over right now. So if you don't have a local plant shop that you purchase from, but you do have small businesses online that you support, make sure you're buying from them as well, you guys, because like they're struggling too. It's rough out here in the streets. You know, I do my content as well, so it's not like I'm relying on one or the other, but I don't even consider myself a small business. I'm like a micro business. This is it. This plant room right here, this is all I got. This is my grow space. I mean, I use the spare bedroom too as like storage and extra grow space, which is not ideal, but like also don't have anywhere else to put like shipping materials. Like they're big and bulky. They take up a lot of space, but hopefully in the next couple of years we'll be in a house and I'll have like my own full basement to work with. But you know, it's hard. It's hard when you're small and you don't have the money, the resources, and the space to be this giant operation. So, you know, a lot of people aren't making a profit anymore and it's just not worth it anymore. So it's sad, really, really sad to see. And I'm hoping that we can just focus on like some more positive things moving forward in 2025, because there's just been a lot of like, things have been just weird, and I think we all just really need them to get better, right? Anyway, those are my 2025 plant predictions. Let me know what yours are in terms of what plants you think are going to be trendy, what you think the changes in the community might look like. I definitely have seen some stuff shifting here and there. I've always got my finger on the pulse of what's going on, not only in the market, but what's going on in the community. I'm like the quiet observer, you know? I'm always lurking somewhere in the shadows, watching. I see everything. I just don't always talk about it. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm getting weird. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. You should give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything from me. Don't forget to go and check out Corey over at Rat Trap Artistry. She makes some really badass designs, t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, magnets, all the cool shit. She can even do custom colors. She could put this on the back of the shirt for you. She could do whatever you want. So just go on ahead and check her out over on Palm Street. Leave me a mushroom emoji if you watched this whole entire video. And I love you guys like a lot. And I hope I see you in the next one. Bye.